Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more latest news. So big news now is coming out in regards to Paul Pogba. So reportedly Paul Pogba has withdrawn from the France squad following injury. I think he has injured his ankle as Paul Pogba. We do not know yet how severe the injury is in that, so reportedly Manchester United are sending him for a scan. So he's going to undergo a scan, obviously, to investigate, to investigate, of course, on how the extent of the damage to his ankle and all that, but hopefully the injury is not too severe in that. So it remains uncertain whether Paul Pogba will be playing in the game against Leicester or not after the international break and that. But actually Paul Pogba had sustained this ankle injury I think after the game against Southampton at the weekend and that, but we do not know yet how severe the current injury is in that. But we do know now one good thing about Paul Pogba is that he is staying at the football club, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer confirmed quite recently, that Paul Pogba is going to be remaining at the football club for this season, which is very, very good news. I still think, Paul Pogba's plans for the future is to make a move to Real Madrid, so he'll probably, wait until next summer, to secure his move to Real Madrid and that. But we do know Paul Pogba also confirmed that he will reject any offers from Manchester United to renew his contract term and all that. So he'll reject any offers from Man United to renew his contract and that. Because I think, we was, orchestrating on, trying to give him a new contract and that. Obviously, Paul Pogba's still got 2 years left on his contract with Manchester United with an option to extend by a further year and that. But obviously, for the entirety of the summer, Paul Pogba's been widely spoken about and he has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Obviously, for the entirety of this summer, Paul Pogba's been relentlessly linked to a move to Real Madrid. There's also been talks about him, making a return back to Juventus, where he did have 4 good years in Turin and that, but he hasn't really replicated this at Manchester United. But for me, he's still a very imperative player. I think, prior to his penalty miss against Wolves, I think also prior to his poor performance against Southampton, I think Paul Pogba's had a pretty decent start to this season. We have seen glimpses of how, good Paul Pogba can be, and that, when Paul Pogba's at his best, he's one of the best midfielders in the world. He's like two players in one. When he's at his best, he's good at feeding the attackers, and I think you mainly see the best of Paul Pogba, of course, when he's 3'd up and that. But I did say, basically for the entirety of this summer, basically, I think, reflecting on the substantial amount we put on Paul Pogba, that was a stumbling block of him, making his proposed move to Real Madrid this summer and that, because, we quoted out that we wanted around £180 million. Obviously, Real Madrid were unwilling to pay this and that. Obviously, Zinedine Zidane identified Paul Pogba as his number one target, but Real Madrid this summer, they spent a substantial amount. I think they spent around, £300 million on 5 players. Obviously, Real Madrid did generate some of the money back, because I think, they did sell quite a few players. I think they generated around £100 million back of that money in that. But, Paul Pogba did say before that he classified, Real Madrid as one of the biggest clubs in the world and that. And Paul Pogba did confirm earlier on this summer that he did want to leave Manchester United. Of course, he publicly admitted this, and he did basically say, he was seeking for a new challenge. Obviously wanted to leave Manchester United, to rejuvenate his career and that. But there was reasons behind anyway why I said he wanted to leave the football club, probably because he's infuriated with the lack of competitiveness at Manchester United. Maybe he feels as though he isn't playing amongst good enough players at Manchester United. So maybe these are the couple of reasons why he did want to leave the football club. But we do know now for certain he's staying at the football club at least for this season. Obviously, as we all know now that the European transfer window shut today, as you all know, and that. But I think probably Paul Pogba will end up making the move to Real Madrid next summer and that. But obviously, Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, he obviously for the entirety of the summer, has been in the process of finding Paul Pogba a new football club and that. Obviously, he said at the start of pre-season as well, that his agent that, Paul Pogba is in the process of leaving the football club. But throughout the course of the summer, Solskjaer had spoken a lot with Paul Pogba. He actually spoken to the vast majority of our players, throughout the course of the summer and that. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does know how much of an imperative player that Paul Pogba is. This is what basically said. But we paid £89 million for him. Obviously, we do know that Paul Pogba is our most expensive signing. He's not only our most expensive signing. He's also one of the highest paid players at the football club on around 290 grand a week. He's also a World Cup winner. Is Paul Pogba now. And obviously, this is now his 4th season as a Manchester United player. Since he rejoined from Juventus back in 2016 and that. Obviously, he's won the Europa League and League Cup with us. That came in his 2nd season with Manchester United. But, it only hasn't been this summer. Paul Pogba's been subject to a lot of transfer speculation. Obviously, reflecting back last summer, there was a lot of talks about Paul Pogba leaving, reflecting on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho and that. And Paul Pogba, got one of his best wishes, of course, when Jose Mourinho departed the football club. But it hasn't only been this summer, he's been subject to a lot of transfer speculation. I think last year there was talks about him going back to Turin. There was also talks about him going to Barcelona, back in the January transfer window. But actually, Paul Pogba's stats, were very, very impressive last season. He made 47 appearances in all competitions, scored 16 goals and provided 11 assists and that. So his stats were very impressive last season. But Paul Pogba, don't forget, was subjected to online racial abuse, don't forget, following his penalty miss against Wolves. And I think in that aspect, to be fair, Paul Pogba, handled the situation, really, really well. And that, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer also give his overarching view on Paul Pogba. He admitted that Paul Pogba had made quite a lot of sloppy passes against Southampton, so his performance was below par against Southampton. So it's confirmed just now. I've just actually read it up now that Paul Pogba has withdrawn from international duty, with France, following this ankle injury he's got on that. But we do not know yet how severe the injury is. So Man United are going to send is set to undergo a scan, obviously to investigate the extent of the damage of the injury and that. So hopefully it's not too severe, because Paul Pogba is a very, very imperative player. And I did say, now we've convinced him to remain at the football club. I did initially say that we've got to avoid him, sustaining any kind of injury in that, because we haven't really got backup to Paul Pogba. But like I did say, I'm glad that Paul Pogba's remained at the football club anyway, especially with our failure to land a midfielder in throughout the course of the summer, because obviously that was one of the priority areas, of course, where Man United needed to strengthen up throughout the course of summer, was that midfield area. And that we did address some of the problematic areas throughout the course of summer, but we didn't address all the problematic areas. But I did say it was going to be hard for us to address all the problematic areas, of course, in one summer transfer window. But we have got quite a few injury problems. It isn't only Paul Pogba that's out with injury. Obviously, you do know we've got some other imperative players that are out with injury. You've got obviously Luke Shaw, that's got a hamstring injury. Obviously, I think Luke Shaw is out for up to a month. I think he's out until October. Like I said, Luke Shaw's a very imperative player. And I think, before he sustained his hamstring problem, Luke Shaw, I think, he hasn't had a great start to this season. But I think, for the majority of his career so far with Man United, he's been very, very good as Luke Shaw. Obviously, he's our first choice left back and obviously won the double player of the season last season, reflecting on his impressive performances. So I'm disappointed that Luke Shaw's out, of course. And obviously, with our injuries, we've got obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had to rotate the squad a little bit anyway against Southampton. Obviously, don't forget Anthony Martial is out with injury. Obviously, he's got a thigh injury as Anthony Martial and that. I'm hopeful that his injury is not too severe, but maybe Anthony Martial or Luke Shaw, they may not be fit enough, to play against Leicester after the international break. Obviously, like I said, Luke Shaw and Anthony Martial both, sustained their injuries in our 2-1 defeat to Crystal Palace in that. Anthony Martial is a very, very imperative player, and I think, prior to his injury, I think he's had a good start to this season and that. Obviously, it confirmed at the start of the season that Anthony Martial had been given that number 9 shirt. So obviously he's playing more centrally this season. Obviously Rashford had fulfilled his role at the weekend against Southampton. Let's be honest, a lot of people criticised Rashford's performance against Southampton at the weekend, and it was really, really poor in that. Like I still said, Martial's developing, Rashford and that's developing that, but I still said, both players have not emulated to that level as yet. But Rashford was so poor against Southampton, even though he had the chances and he didn't take them. Obviously, he didn't latch onto any of them crosses at all, did Rashford. I think Rashford, looked so isolated in that at the weekend. Like I said, Rashford can play out wide, he can also play centrally, but Rashford was so poor against Southampton. And like I said, with every right, to criticise his performance, because it was really, really bad, and that, was Marcus Rashford. And I said, he was inconsistent in the last couple of months of last season, was Rashford and that. I think, prior to Rashford's penalty miss against Crystal Palace, I think, prior to his poor performance against Southampton, I thought he did well in the first 2 games, did Marcus Rashford, to be quite honest with you. But, he's been in United play since the age of 7. He's, progressed up the ranks. He's been in the senior squad with us since 2016. And we have seen the best of Rashford. And, when he's at his best, he can get them runs in behind. He can, he's really, really good at receiving the ball and that. I think he's got that finishing assets when he wants to have it as well. But for me, he's, still developing. And, with Martial, like I said, he's 23 years of age. Obviously, this is not Anthony Martial's now 5th season as a Manchester United player. Like I said, he can he can play out wide, can Martial. That's why he's supposedly primarily plays, but he's obviously playing more centrally this season because, like I said, he seems to be more effective in that central position. Like I said, Martial scored 50 goals for the football club. Obviously, he scored his 50th goal against Wolves, and that did Anthony Martial. Obviously, he's under contract with the football club till 2024. The club had given Martial a new 5-year deal back in the I think it was back in January. We give Martial this 5-year deal and that. But like I said, we paid quite a bit of money for Anthony Martial. Obviously, we paid £36 million for him. Potentially rise up to 57 or £58 million. Based on the goals and achievements and that. And obviously, when we give him that, he's on now on a substantial wage. Is Anthony Martial? I think he's on like what 200 or is it over 200 grand a week and that. And same, with Marcus Rashford. He got a new long-term contract. Not too long ago, and he's on over 200 grand a week. I think it rises up to 300 grand a week. And that with the bonuses included. So I did say, we have got players on big contracts and that. But like I said, we can afford to do it because we're a massive club and, we have got massive revenues. Other injuries, we've got obviously, Diego Dalot is out with injury, but I think he's set to return to action after the international break. So he could participate in the game against Leicester and that, could Diego Dalot. I think it confirmed prior to the Crystal Palace game that he'd sustained, some kind of injury. So he should be okay for the Leicester game, Diego Dalot. We do know that Eric Bailly, of course, is out with a knee injury. He's out until Christmas time, is Eric Bailly. Obviously, he sustained a serious knee injury, in one of the games in pre-season, I think it was. And I did say Eric Bailly's Manchester United career has been mainly affected with the amount of injuries he has sustained, and it's really taken its toll. And we do know how much of an imperative player that Eric Bailly is. Obviously, this is now his 4th season at the football club and that. And, he has got great potential. When he's fully fit, he holds his line and that really, really well, does Eric Bailly. But I think if, in the future, I think if a suitable offer came in for him, would consider offloading him that. We probably would look to recruit the initial £30 million that we did pay for him from Villarreal, back in 2016 and all that. But we do know he's out of injury. Also, Fossil Mensah is a long-term absence as well. He's a long-term absence. Obviously, Lee Grant is still injured in that. So we have got quite a few players out with injury in that. But I'm very, very hopeful that Paul Pogba's injury, of course, is not too severe. So his injury is going to be further assessed, and we'll probably know tomorrow or within the next couple of days of how serious, Paul Pogba's injury is in that. But like I did say, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival now, quite a lot of players have departed the football club, and that obviously we do know that Antonio Valencia left at the end of last season after he served 10 years with Manchester United. Obviously, we do know that Ander Herrera left the football club, I think, early on this summer, and it was a shame that we didn't recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera. Obviously, we saw Ander Herrera was a long-serving player at the football club. He served 5 years here. He could say he was arguably one of our best players, since the Alex Ferguson's retirement and that. Obviously, Marion Fellaini left the football club in January, obviously after he served 6 years with Manchester United. Obviously, we saw, Romelu Lukaku, of course, leave the football club, and I think that was good. In that aspect, it was really, really good business from the football club, getting rid of Lukaku, and it was also good to see us, generate a substantial amount for the flop, basically, and it was good to see us recoup the money that we did pay for him from Everton a couple of years ago and that, so that was very, very good to see. Again, we didn't recruit a replacement for Lukaku because I think that there was a lot of Man United fans demanding us to get a replacement for Romelu Lukaku and that, but Solskjaer, I think, confirmed at the start of the season, he gave his overarching view on, why we didn't get that replacement for Romelu Lukaku, to obviously, prioritise the development of Mason Greenwood. Obviously, we saw Sanchez, of course, leave the football club last week as well. He's gone on loan to Inter Milan. Obviously, it confirmed as well last week that Chris Smalling's gone on loan to Roma, and obviously, as I updated you on my last video, it has confirmed today that Matteo Darmian has officially left Manchester United to join Parma. It's a permanent deal, by the way. It isn't a loan deal. It is a permanent deal, but he has joined Parma. I think Parma have paid around 3.6 million to get him, and I think he has signed a 4-year deal with Parma as Matteo Darmian. So obviously now Matteo Darmian has made a return to Italy, because anyway, Matteo Darmian spent the majority of his career in Italy, of course, when he was younger and that. But I think in this aspect, it's really good business business from Manchester United, getting rid of Matteo Darmian and all that. I'm not surprised that he's left the football club anyway, because obviously he was served his 2 requirements at Manchester United, but I'm just surprised, of how much we've let him go for, basically. We've basically let him go for next to no. Maybe if we could have got rid of Darmian a couple of years ago, or maybe even a year ago, maybe we could have, we could have got the majority of the money that we paid for him from Torino back in 2015, or recoup the whole, amount, that we paid for him from Torino back in 2015, because I think we paid just over £12 million for him from Torino, back in 2015, and that, obviously, Darmian had served 4 years there with the football club. He obviously made 92 appearances for Manchester United in all competitions, but he enjoyed a very, very difficult time, because he never really got the opportunity, Matteo Darmian. I think he only played like 13 games since December 2017. He only made 7 appearances last season, I think, in all competitions and that, and I think his contract was set to expire with Manchester United next year anyway. But Darmian's aging up now. He is 29 years of age. I think he's actually nearly 30 years of age now. But yeah, it broke out about this news at the weekend, saying he was set to join Parma. It was a different. Well, it actually said at the weekend he was set to join them for just over £1 million. But actually now it turns out that it's over £3 million. We've sold Matteo Darmian for. But you can quite frankly say we've lost out on around £9.1 million basically, because like I said, we paid just over £12 million for him from Torino back in 2015, and obviously Darmian wasn't even part of our pre-season squad or anywhere. There was quite a few players that didn't play throughout pre-season. Obviously, Sanchez didn't play throughout pre-season. Lukaku and that didn't play throughout pre-season. There was quite a few players that didn't. Darmian didn't, and that. But with Darmian, he won the FA Cup with us, the League Cup with us, and the Europa League with us, and that. But he never really got the opportunity as a Manchester United player. So that's been confirmed today. He has joined Parma on a 4-year deal, so he will be under contract with them until 2023 and that. Obviously, like I said, with Chris Smalling, I think it was also good that we got rid of him and that, because obviously, following the arrival of Harry Maguire, obviously he'd fallen down the pecking order with Chris Smalling. Obviously, Chris Smalling, was long-serving player at the football club. Smalling served 9 years at Manchester United, so he nearly served a decade at the football club and that. And over the years, we had seen glimpses, of how good, Chris Smalling, and that, can be and that. Obviously, Smalling is 29 years of age, so also, he's currently aging up and that. But now I think we've let 4 players go. I think Darmian is actually, the 4th player, to join the Serie A from Manchester United and that. But like I said with Smalling, when Smalling was at Man United, he made over 300 odd appearances in all competitions. Obviously, he won everything domestically at Manchester United. He won 2 Premier Leagues with us. Obviously, he won the FA Cup with us, the League Cup and the Europa League and that. Don't forget, he only got his contract renewed in December of last year, did Chris Smalling and that. But it was pointless. It was pointless him being here anywhere, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first choice is Harry Maguire and Vitz Lindelof. They're his first choice centre-backs partnership. So obviously, Smalling, would have found it very difficult anywhere. Obviously, it's not a permanent deal anyway. We do know Smalling has gone to Roma on loan. Roma have paid around 2.7 million, to take him out on loan, but it's without a buyout option, or there's no obligation to buy for Roma, to make the deal permanent next summer and that. So possibly, could return to Manchester United after his loan spell with Roma. But at least, we got rid of one central defender, because I did say, we've got a lot of central defenders, even though Chris Smalling's gone on loan to Roma. We still have got 6 centre backs in the team. Obviously, we do know that Phil Jones is still here. Phil Jones has been a long-serving player with the football club. He's been here now 8 years and that, and he's no longer good enough to represent Manchester United. I know a lot of players now have gone since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, like I said earlier on the video, but I still believe maybe in January or next summer, I think more players do need to leave the football club, because I still think there's players here that I know are not good enough, to represent, Manchester United. Like I said, Jones isn't, and we have seen glimpses of how good Jones can be, in the 8 years or so he's been here and that. But obviously, he's going to find game time very, very difficult now. Don't forget last season, he also, got a new contract, did Phil Jones. I think Jones has been here since 2012, something like that. Obviously, he's been here since the Alex Ferguson era. Marcus Rojo, obviously we do know now he's staying at the football club. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer confirmed. I think this was prior to the Southampton game, Solskjaer confirmed that Marcus Rojo is going to be definitely staying at the football club. Rojo, to be fair though, has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation because I think a host of clubs have been interested in him. I think it did say Monaco, Marseille, and AC Milan had all showed their interest in, Marcus Rojo. Obviously, don't forget Everton had inquired about getting Marcus Rojo on transfer deadline day. Obviously, I think he actually, went to visit Everton's training ground. We put around the £25 million valuation on Marcus Rojo and that. Obviously, Rojo's just got under 2 years left on his contract with Manchester United. Obviously, he's been here, right? Is this his 5th season now, I think, as a Manchester United player, Marcus Rojo's? Obviously, I think he's now, 29, or is he 30 years of age or something like that now? Obviously, Rojo, you can say, surplus to requirements at the football club. Rojo hasn't played so far in the Premier League this season, but actually, got given them chances throughout pre-season. To be fair, Rojo was quite impressive in that. But, Rojo's versatility is very, very good, so I think he's good. It's good in that aspect because he can play centrally. He can also play on the left-hand side. I think he can, also play as a wing-back and Rojo, but we do know now he's staying in the football club. That's one thing we know for certain. Alex Tuanzebe, another one of our centre-backs, I think he's going to be staying at the football club, well, at least for this present time anyway, because I think he's going to be a big part of the squad this season, is Alex Tuanzebe. Obviously did well on his loan spell last season with, Aston Villa. Yeah, it was quite impressive, Alex Tuanzebe, so in that aspect he has gained experience in that. But we do know, like I said, the first choice is obviously going to be Lindelof and Harry Maguire this season, as it obviously has been. Maybe in the cup games, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer may rotate him a little bit in that. Obviously, Harry Maguire is the best option than what we've got in our backline at this present time, and that I think Harry Maguire maybe has had a couple of bad games so far. Maybe hasn't really settled in as yet. I thought he did well on his debut on the opening game against Chelsea and that, but I think Harry Maguire has got all the ingredients required to become a huge success at Manchester United and that. My overarching view on it, maybe we did overpay for Harry Maguire, but I did say in these markets at this day and age, you've got to overpay for players and that. And this is a problem with Manchester United. What we do is, we spend big on players. We overpay for players. We give players big contracts and that, and then we let them go for next to nothing. And that's the infuriating thing about it. We've done it with Darmian. We obviously did it with Ander Herrera and that. It's bad. That's actually bad business and that from the football club. That's a bad business and that from the football club. But like I said, with Harry Maguire, I'd say he was worth around £60 million, in the market. Obviously I said over £60 million, we're basically, overpaying for the player. And we did overpay for him because obviously Harry Maguire is our second most expensive signing, just behind Paul Pogba. He's also the most expensive defender in the world. But I'm really, really glad anyway that we got that experienced centre-half in. And obviously with Victor Lindelof, these question marks around him, can he keep the consistency up at Manchester United? And I believe he can. I still say that Victor Lindelof, is flourishing at Manchester United. To be quite fair, I think he's had a poor in his last couple of games. I think Victor Lindelof, hasn't performed to the sort of, level as we expect him to and that. I think Victor Lindelof, did well throughout pre-season. I thought he did well in the game against Wolves and Chelsea and that, but I think in the last 2 games, I think Victor Lindelof, has been below par in that, but I definitely still believe he's the long-term solution for Manchester United. This is now Victor Lindelof's 3rd season as a Manchester United player in that, but we have still got a lot of centre-backs in the team. I'm disappointed that we couldn't offload Marcus Rojo and that, but maybe, Solskjaer's confirmed now he's staying at the football club, so he obviously, won't be leaving now, Marcus Rojo anywhere. Obviously, like I did say, we've enjoyed a bad start to this season. Obviously, 4 games have gone. We've only won 1 game out of 4 so far, so we've only registered 3 points out of a possible 12, which is very, very bad. And, I thought, we had a really, really good pre-season that, won 6 games out of 6, 12 goals scored and only 3 goals conceded that. And I did say at that point, I thought we was going to have a really, really good season. That pre-season's meaningless anyway, but I did say pre-season's always very beneficial, when you want to, give the young upcoming players experience and that. And, the young upcoming players, did get that experience, throughout pre-season. Obviously, some of the young players have been, given their chances this season. That And, we got off to a fantastic start as well against Chelsea, winning comfortably by 4 goals to 0 and that. And, it was a really, really good start, was that. And then I said at that point, I think, we're definitely not going to have a better season this season. But since the Chelsea game, everything just seems to have all gone wrong. Obviously, dropping 2 points away from home to Wolves, let's be honest here, our away record, hasn't recently, been that good. We dropped 2 points against Wolves, and then obviously, we dropped all 3 points at home to Crystal Palace, losing to them for the first time in Premier League history in that. Rashford missing the penalty, of course, in that game. And then obviously, dropping 2 points against Southampton and that the weekend. But for me, I haven't seen much improvements this season than what I saw last season. That I've maybe seen a slight improvement, but not much improvement. Obviously, last season was a huge disappointment. We finished sixth. Obviously, we didn't win any silverware, and of course, we failed to qualify for the Champions League and that. And I think in that aspect, that went against us, of getting all the players that we wanted in and that, because obviously Solskjaer didn't get all the players that I wanted in and that, and I did say certain players would have had reservations about joining the football club anyway, with our failure to qualify for the Champions League and that. But I do believe the players we was in for throughout the course of the summer. I probably believe we will reignite our interest in them players in the January transfer window and that, because obviously in January we know that third more investment is needed, and obviously we've got to recommend at least one midfielder in, of course, in the January transfer window. Don't forget throughout the course of the summer as well, was in search for a right winner, as you all currently knowing that. But I think, reflecting on our poor start to the season, that I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is under pressure now, and I think the pressure will mount up. If we know the pressure will continue mounting up on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. Obviously, like I said at the start of the season, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's expectations this season, probably, with Manchester United, will be to finish in the top four and perhaps, maybe win some silverware and that. And I did say it's very imperative that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer exceeds these expectations to obviously, remain in the job at Manchester United and that. But I didn't literally say our aspirations probably, will be going for that top four in the next couple of seasons, because analysing our squad at the moment, it isn't good enough to win the league, or it isn't even good enough, to challenge for the league. I think it's definitely, good enough, to finish in the top four in that. But I think at least in the next couple of seasons, we will not be challenging or, of course, winning the league and that. But I did say, with the dimension of this football club, with the history of this football club, we should be up there challenging and, of course, winning silverware and that. And, we haven't done this in the last 6 years or so. And I did say I don't like the way the football club anywhere has been run in the last 6 years and that. And like I did say, we have got big ambitions for the future. And obviously we want to get back to winning silverware and that. And this is something, obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to bring back to the football club. And Solskjaer, he did say early on this summer, that he's following Alex Ferguson's philosophy and he obviously wants to bring that winning mentality back to the football club. He wants to bring that fear factor back to the football club. But I think the vast majority of the pundits and that, they're sceptical about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They believe that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer won't bring that fear factor back to Manchester United, because obviously that fear factor hasn't been there, since the Alex Ferguson era and that. But like I did say, there's a vast majority of Man United fans as well, criticising, tactically criticising Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and I thought he tactically got it spot on against Southampton but we're just not being clinical enough, and what I've seen so far this season mainly, it's just replicating what I saw last season. Last season wasn't clinical enough in front of goal. So far this season mainly, we haven't been clinical enough in front of goal and that. And last season, we only managed 53 goals in the Premier League and that. Last season as well, we conceded 54 goals in 38 Premier League games and that. And that was our highest total, of course, in 40 years. So I haven't seen, much improvements, to be quite honest, because this season so far, we haven't scored enough goals, and we have conceded already 4 goals this season in 4 games. Don't forget, we are creating quite a lot of chances in that, but we're just not being clinical enough. I think, to be fair, these now more pace up front and that, and we did lack that pace last season. To be fair, we have now got that pace up front. Obviously, you've got Daniel James, obviously, with electrifying pace and that, he's got electrifying pace. I still say Daniel James is a prospect and needs time to develop without a shadow of a doubt and that. His crossing that needs to improve, does Daniel James is. There's still improvements needed in his game. You got Marshall and Rashford in that with good pace and that. But for me, we still need someone in mainly that can finish chances, create more chances. We need to see more leadership in the team. I think we also are lacking that leadership. I think we need someone to come in, that's better at taking set pieces and all that. I think we'll look slightly better defensively as well with Harry Maguire, coming in. But, there's still areas in the squad, of course, that do need to be addressed in that. But like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, it's only been his first summer as Manchester United manager. Obviously, he recommended 3 players in. We spent around £148 million on them and that. And I think we have seen glimpses of how good they are so far. I think Daniel James had a fantastic start to his Man United career. Good to see him score against Southampton the weekend. He scored 3 goals so far this season. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka's had a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. I also thought he was impressive throughout pre-season. Bissaka's obviously not our first choice right back, obviously. We've got a few fullbacks in the team. You've got Young as a backup option. You've got Dalot and that as a backup option. But that as a backup option, so we have got quite a few fullbacks in the team and that, and I think Bissaka can emulate into like a Gary Neville and stuff like that. I think he's good enough, to do that without a shadow of a doubt. But definitely no further more signings are needed in January. But as it did say at the start of the season, that he said regardless of what happens this season, as long as it's not too bad, as long as we know we're not in relegation, or as long as we don't finish mid-table, he said for this season Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job should be safe for at least this season, because I think the board had come to terms and they realised that they confirmed at the start of the season that they realised that they didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough, because early on in the summer they did assure the board that they assured that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer of course would have been back term and all that, but obviously he wasn't back term enough, so I think the board have assured that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be back in January, maybe perhaps next summer as well. That's if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, of course, is still Manchester United. But I think Solskjaer had spoken over Ed Woodward, throughout the course of the summer anyway, about the lack of business in the market and that. But I think Solskjaer had, throughout the course of the summer, had spoken about our recruitment policy. And prior to this summer window, in the other, in the recent windows, in January, we didn't make any signings. Obviously, reflecting back last summer, we didn't get our number one targets in that. So analysing our recruitment policy, isn't that very, it isn't that good, to be quite honest with you in that. But like I said, I don't like the way the football club's been run anywhere in the last 6 or 7 years or so. But I'm hopeful that it can work out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I'm hopeful that it can work out under him, because obviously we adore him a lot. Obviously, he was a great player for Manchester United. He was a long-serving player. He was at Manchester United 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance and all that. Obviously, one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moments as a player was actually back in 1999. Obviously, which was over 20 years ago now. Of course, he won us the treble, did Solskjaer, and obviously, that's one of the club's greatest achievements and all that. But he was a great player, was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But I just don't know if he's got all the attributes and he's got that stature, to get us in that commanding position. I don't know if he can succeed in management, to the highest level. Solskjaer, he has got a bit of experience as a manager in that, don't get me wrong, but he hasn't really got it to the highest level, and that's an element of concern, to be quite honest with you. But at least Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he had some he'd worked out his transfer strategy, early on in the summer. He basically said, he wanted to recommend a number of young players to come in that can grow and develop and obviously, emulate in that into superstars. But for me, we just didn't address all the problematic areas in the summer transfer window and that. But I did say it was going to be extremely difficult for us, to currently do that and that. But like I said, we haven't had a great start to the season, and Leicester at Old Trafford after the international break is going to be a difficult game. Is Leicester? Leicester have had a pretty decent start to this season so far. They've registered 8 points from a possible 12 and that. So Leicester have had a pretty decent start and that to the season. And I didn't only say we've got to improve this season. I also said we've got to improve our record against the top 6 sides, because our record against the top 6 sides wasn't good last season and that. But I made my predictions at the start of the season. I did say, we'll finish higher than we did last season. I did initially say I think we'll maybe finish 4th or maybe finish 3rd and that. But, it looking likely, my predictions are going out of the window at the moment, the way Man United are performing and, we're not getting, the right results and that, we can't, I don't think we've played bad, I don't think we was too good against Southampton. Maybe the first half, I thought we was okay in the first half against Southampton, against Palace. We was unlucky to lose the Palace game, to be quite honest, because we had over 20 odd shots in that game. And we only managed to score 1 goal again. And I wasn't clinical enough again. And wasn't ruthless enough in front of goal. And obviously against Wolves, I thought we did well in the first half. But I thought, obviously, we was poor in the second half and that. So, like I did say, always spending big on players. Always recommending them Galactico players in. Doesn't always guarantee you success. And that's been proven with Manchester United, of course, in the last 6 years or so. But like I did say, regardless of who our manager is, even if now we had a manager to the highest level, say we recommended Pep Guardiola and, he was obviously regarded as one of the best managers in the world or whatever, or say, we recommended the Pochettino win or whatever, it doesn't mean, we would be a better team than what we are now at this present time and that if we got a manager into the highest level and that, because, you don't want to blame the managers, it's also, you've got to blame the team as well. But like I did say, I think any manager, would struggle, with this Manchester United squad at the moment and that, because let's be honest, the majority of the players are not reliable enough. I think we've got quite a few reliable players in the squad and that, and it's good to see that obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's got a lot of trustworthy in his young players and that, as he was saying, and he was saying following Alex Sanchez. Because he was saying, following Alexis Sanchez's departure, Solskjaer, he has a lot of trust in his younger strikers and that. And we have got quite a few young upcoming players in the squad. And obviously Mason Greenwood, I think he definitely needs to start against Leicester because obviously Mason Greenwood has not yet started the game from the start for Manchester United this season. Obviously, he has made 4 substitute appearances and that, but he needs to start a game from the start. We need to see how he can cooperate and that Mason Greenwood. But he has been assured more opportunities this season. I think Chong, he needs to get given a chance. I don't think Chon has yet played this season, as what I know anywhere. Angel Gomez, he was supposed to be a big part of the squad this season. I'm surprised he didn't play against Southampton, Angel Gomez and that. But we have got quite a few young upcoming players in the squad. But analysing our midfield, I keep saying, I've got a lot of element of concerns about our midfield and that, because taking Paul Pogba out of the equation. Now, this is why I said at the start of the video, I hope his injury's not too severe. Taking him out of the equation, without him there, we're lacking that creativeness in that midfield. The midfield looks quite a bit imbalanced, without Paul Pogba there. To be quite honest with you, and we haven't really got anyone in Paul Pogba's calibre and level in our midfield at the moment. I know we've got the likes of McTominay. I'll credit McTominay in the aspects that I think he's had a good start to this season, to be fair. Got a good assist in the Southampton game for Daniel James's goal. And obviously so far this season he's been playing alongside Paul Pogba actually, as McTominay. And I think he's actually, they've both blended in, fantastically well and that. But I still don't know if McTominay, has got all the attributes, to succeed as a Manchester United player and that. So I am very, very sceptical about that. And McTominay, he's developing, really, really well. Still young, got a lot of years ahead of him and that. But I think we expect to see better things from McTominay this season. But there again, McTominay did well towards the back end of last season. With Fred as well, my opinions on him. I thought we also overpaid for Fred. Obviously, we paid just under £50 million for him last summer from Shakhtar Donetsk. He was exceptional. He was an exceptional player at Shakhtar Donetsk. Hasn't really performed to the same sort of level at Manchester United, and that mainly. But he did well towards the back end of last season. I don't think Fred yet played this season, if I can remember rightly. Well, I haven't seen him play so far this season, but the games he did play throughout pre-season, he was quite impressive with Fred and that. So I still don't know if he's a long-term solution for Man United. I think Fred is a much better solution, and I think he's more mobile on the ball and better on the ball than Nemanja Matic. I think he's a much better option than Nemanja Matic is Fred, because Nemanja Matic, I think, he's no longer first choice. Obviously, due to his inconsistency in that. Matic is a very, very inconsistent player. He's too slow. Obviously, he's aging up. Of course, he isn't getting any younger in that. He's too slow in that midfield, is Matic. My thoughts on Andres Pereira as well. I thought he had a poor game against Southampton. Obviously, he had been given the chance against Southampton. I thought he was quite poor, to be quite honest with you. So I have got a lot of concerns about that midfield. But like I said, we need to get a midfielder in January. We need someone that can play alongside Pogba in our midfield, and it's a shame that we didn't get Bruno Fernandes throughout the course of summer, because I would have been excited about the prospects of Bruno Fernandes, playing alongside Paul Pogba in our midfield, because I think, they would have complemented each other, fantastically well indeed. So it's a shame that we didn't, of course, get him in, but we'll probably, go back in for him in January, because obviously he was one of our main priority targets, throughout the course of summer anyway, was Bruno Fernandes. Was Bruno Fernandes in that, but hopefully it can work out under Solskjaer. Solskjaer's obviously our 4th manager, since Alex Ferguson's retirement, and like I did say, we're not really known for a sacking club, and obviously, anyway, we haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers. Obviously, 3 managers have already been sacked since Alex Ferguson's retirement, but a hell of a lot of money has been spent at Manchester United, of course, in the last 6 years or so. Obviously, £148 million has been spent this summer under Solskjaer. Just under £400 million was spent under Mourinho, he recommended 11 players in. There's still 10 of those players here now that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's inheriting. There was quite Van Gaal, spent a lot of money at Man United. He brought a lot of players in. The vast majority of them have now left, though, but there's still some of them here now that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's inheriting. Just under £67 million was spent under David Moyes and that. And Matty, of course, is still here from the David Moyes era. I thought Matty, stepped up to play against Southampton at the weekend. I thought Matty, played quite well in that. And obviously, there's still players here from the Alex Ferguson era. So obviously, the other man, the three managers that got sacked, obviously, they were different managers, obviously, with different sort of philosophies and that. But obviously, none of their philosophies, worked out at this football club and that. But like I said, regardless to our managers, no one's going to ever follow Alex Ferguson's legacy. We're never going to replicate what we did under Alex Ferguson. That's obviously, something we've got to accept in that, but we just want to back to being a competitive elite level football club and that. But I think if this bad run of form continues, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think will be out at the door by Christmas time probably, or maybe perhaps by the new year. But like I said, I thought the young players were fruition throughout pre-season, and I did say I think they'll become fruition this season and that. But I think in January, there's still more players that need to leave the football club. So I think Matic needs to go, or maybe next summer. I think Rojo definitely needs to go because I think it's pointless him being here and that. So there's still players here, in my opinion, that still need to leave the football club and that. And like I said, we've got a lot of players now on big contracts. Obviously you've got Rashford on 200 grand a week, Martial on 200 grand a week. You've got Pogba on 290 grand a week. Like I said, I think De Gea's now on 375 grand a week. You got Harry Maguire. I think that's on around 200 grand a week. So yeah, we've got a lot of players on big contracts at the football club and that. But like I said, I've also been frustrated with lack of silverware in the last 6 years as well. In the last 6 years or so as well, that's frustrated me. We haven't won much silverware. We haven't won the Premier League, since 2013. Obviously, that came in Alex Ferguson's last season, of course. We won the Premier League. That was the last time we won the league back in 2013, and that we didn't win out under the David Moyes era. Won the FA Cup under Louis van Gaal era, back in 2016 and that. And obviously, won the Europa League and League Cup under the Jose Mourinho era. Obviously, that came in Jose Mourinho's first season. That, but we're just basically, analysing it. Haven't been the same team, since the Alex Ferguson era and that. And it's good that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is doing his best, to try and make it work at Man United. He obviously wants his tenure at Manchester United, to succeed in that. He wants it to work out and that, because obviously Solskjaer, before he came in as Manchester United manager, obviously he had. He was with Mould. Obviously, he won a couple of Norwegian titles and that with Mould. And, he also had a short tenure with Cardiff. He obviously, it didn't really work out for him at Cardiff and all that. But, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, wants to bring that fear factor back to Manchester United and that. So I'm hopefully, that can work out under him. But now I have got a serious doubts about him. But I did say, I think on a regular basis this season anyway, I think Solskjaer will go that 4-2-3-1 formation. I think he'll go with that formation on a regular basis. He may go with other formations like the 4-3-3 and that, but I think he'll mainly go with that 4-2-3-1 formation. My opinions on Jesse Lingard, he obviously, didn't play against, he did play against Southampton. He came on as a substitute, but didn't start from the start. Obviously, due to his inconsistency. Lingard started the season very, very poor. I thought he was inconsistent in the last couple of months of last season, but I still say he's a long-term solution for Man United. So there's quite a few players now, or a lot, should I say, that are underperforming. I think Martial has had a good start to this season, like I said earlier on the video. Rashford, prior to his penalty miss against Palace, and his poor performance against Southampton, I think he did well in the first 2 games. Did Rashford? Pogba, I thought, did well in the first couple of games. I think Harry Maguire's done quite well. Lindelof's been below par in the last couple of games and that. And Wan-Bissaka, I don't think he's stepped a foot out of line. I think he's done, really, really well in that. Who else? Jesse Lingard, like I said, has been very, very poor. So there has been quite a few players, that have been underperforming and that. So, they need to start playing properly, and that's very, very imperative indeed. But like I did say anyway, there's been cultural problems at the football club, anywhere for the last 6 years or so. And like I said earlier on in the summer, we was in search for our sporting director, and I think that was a mistake of us not getting a sporting director in, because I did say at that point, we needed a structural change at the football club and that. And at the time, there was quite a few names mentioned, who could have taken that director's role at Manchester United and that. But we didn't get that sporting director in, so obviously we just we just ended up, letting Ed Woodward, oversee our transfer business, throughout the course of summer. But I think the vast majority of Man United fans are demanding Ed Woodward out. They're also demanding, they're demanding the Glazers out, and that and the football club. But I'm disappointed as well that we didn't get a sporting director in, throughout the course of the summer transfer window. That's mainly everything to update you today, guys. So enjoy your comments, likes below on the channel, guys. If you do consider subscribe, as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very soon. Thanks for watching.